All right, y'all, I'm back. Sorry about that. I don't know what the hell happened. That was weird. I'm still trying to figure out this YouTube thing, man. It's got me. It's got me. I don't know what the hell's going on. All of a sudden, it just cut out. So yeah, we'll wait for some more people to jump back in here. It's a nice day out here in the AZ, that's for sure. Hell of a nice day. See if anybody pops in here. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. We'll do a Q&A. Whatever y'all want to do. See if everybody pops back in that was in here. That was weird how I just cut off. All right, there's one back. Let's see if we get some more people in here. Sorry about that. I don't know what the hell happened. It just cut off on my end. You guys probably couldn't have seen that. Did you see that? If you were in here just a little bit ago, did you notice that the screen just went black? And then all of a sudden, yeah, down under, I would say for sure. It's got to be similar. Yes, it cut out momentarily. Man, I don't know. I got to figure this thing out. And then the other day when lag for a few seconds and okay. The other day when I was doing the live, I couldn't keep up with the damn comments, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to slow them down, to catch them up, to read them, because they appear and then they go away. They appear, they go away. So I got to figure out how to keep them on to where I can see the comment, because it doesn't keep them on. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. The standard internet lag. You could have kept going. I should have kept going, but I had a black screen. I was like, shit. I'm trying to figure out how to keep the damn comments on. I don't know why I can't do that, YouTube. I'm gonna have to do the tutorials because I'm lagging, and I can't figure out how to keep the damn comments up. Because like your comment right here with the tutorials, it was up for like 5 seconds and then it disappeared, and then for me to go back to try to find it, I don't know how the hell to do that. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. I know there's a way you can slow them down, but. Anyway, 5 a.m., man, you got that coffee going? You a coffee drinker? I drink coffee every morning. I can't go without it, man. It's like I gotta have it. Should be able to change the streaming settings on YouTube in the Creator Studio. I'll have to go do that. Death. Man, down under, missed that comment. You said something about Death, made an interesting video. I'll have to check him out. I'm going to have to reach back out to him. I had a chance to get on there and copy to start the day. Damn, 3:30 most mornings. Holy shit. I had a chance to go on Josh's channel, Death 23-1, and we just couldn't link up. Pretty much my fault. It was supposed to be during the day. And then I talked to him again. He was coming home late one night, and he's like, hey, when I get home, I'll reach out to you and we'll shoot the video. And then it just ended up not happening. And now he's so big. He's blown up so big that he's just busy all the time. And I think he's starting to do some new topics. Damien, what's happening, man? I need to figure out, Damien, I missed your comment. Something about discuss how inmates see their family. Can you put that comment up again? Chiming in while working. How's work going, man? I got to go back tomorrow. I work 7 to 5, so we do 10s. I do a 10-hour day, and then I have usually Tuesdays off. So I might just start going live on Tuesdays, even though we've voted to go live on Friday evenings. But I think the question was how inmates visit their families. So the way that works is visitations are on Saturdays and Sundays. They now have incentive to where they can visit. Go and see their family that has passed away. We're going as always. So if they have a family member, so if an inmate has a family member that has passed away, they have to let So I had that happen to me while I was a sergeant. They came, it happened a lot, but I had to deal with it as a sergeant. Usually the officer will tell the sergeant, hey, listen, this person has somebody passed away. The chaplain usually comes on site. So the way that works is you got to get approval through the deputy warden, and then the warden has to. Okay, cool. So Damien said his brother was able to come visit his mom, which is good. That's good. It has to go through an approval phase, and it has to be immediate family only. And then it's called a funeral detail. And the way that works is once it's approved, 2 officers are assigned. They take the inmate to wherever the funeral is. There's supposed to be no family around that can interact with the inmate. However, a lot of times that's not necessarily the case. But the way the policy reads is the inmate is to visit the person that has deceased. Nobody's supposed to be there. Obviously you got 2 armed officers with the inmate. They stay in belly chains and leg irons. And when I was on a funeral detail, it was just a viewing, and there was no public there. There was no family there. However, I know that it's not always like that, because obviously when you're at a funeral, it's hard to have nobody there, right? Because it's a funeral. But they're only supposed to be able to go to basically like the wake or the viewing, and that's it. And it's a short time frame. They don't get all day. They get on a lot of time that they have to be in and out, and then back to the prison facility. So it's not the friendliest policy that the prison facility has when there's a deceased family member, but it's got to be immediate, like mom, dad, grandmother, father, grandfather. And my brother was taking the funeral home, and it was only him and the 2 guards. And that's usually exactly how it is. They go to the funeral home. It's just the person. Nobody's supposed to be there. Adding it down as a question, do entire units ever get sick from the flu or virus? I'll answer that just in a minute, Chapman. But yeah, it's usually just 2 officers, the inmate, they pay their respects, and then that's it. They leave. So, Big Sid, what's up, man? We need to link up, my man. Big Sid is in the house. Roll call. That's how he's crazy. Hey, man. Thanks for popping in, man. We need to link up. I'm gonna have to send you I'll send you a DM. Do you have an Instagram? If not, I'll just send you a video on your I'll just send you a message on your last video, and we can link up if you're cool with that. I like your shit, man. It's good. Actually, one of my subs is the one that told me about you. I had heard about you, but he's like, man, you got to jump into Big Sid stuff. It's good, and I did, and he was right. So yeah, man, we need to link up for sure, bro. Hell yeah, it's crazy. Big Sid in the house. But yeah, funeral detail. Getting back to the question of, do we ever have the flu or a virus go around? Scott D, what's up? In a pod, yeah, lots of times where we try to quarantine that pod and send them up to the medical unit. Does that always happen? Hell no. No, we don't have enough staff to do that. Or they don't have enough staff. I'm no longer out there, but what happens a lot of times, other than like the flu or a virus, it's MRSA. So when MRSA gets rampant, we end up having to quarantine the cell. So the cell is completely redlined. It's called. They redline the cell, take the inmates out, take them to medical, get them treated, and then from there, depending on, they might come back to the yard or they might stay up there until it's starting to heal. But MRSA can kill you, as we all know. So we take it serious in the facility. Make sure we get that treatment. Sometimes though, the inmate doesn't come forward because they think they're going to get a ticket for tattooing or whatever. I never wrote bullshit tickets like that. I have no time for that. As a matter of fact, I didn't really write tickets at all, man. At all. I really didn't. Unless my hand was forced. Like if there was a fight or, found drugs or whatever, whatever that would force my hand to write a ticket, then yeah, I'd write a ticket. But I didn't write measly tickets for tattooing. I didn't give a shit, to tell you the truth. You're gonna do it, do it. Just try to be safe about it. Gringo Burrito, what's happening? Checking in from Central Florida. Thanks for joining, man. Hell yeah, appreciate that. It's midday in AZ. Got to hit back to work tomorrow. It's not always fun, but oh well. I'm sure there's a lot of shit waiting for me. Hopefully it hasn't been crazy since I've been gone, but we will find out. But yeah. Sean, what do you do when an inmate won't lock down on a 4-yard? Great question. So this is what I used to do. Inmate be like, man, I ain't fucking locking down. Fuck that. I used to say, well, okay, then don't lock down. Go get your stuff from your cell. Bring it on down and you can sleep in the middle of the pod. Willis, what's up, man? Thanks for joining, my brother. And if that's it, come count time, I would just count them right in and just keep going. Eventually, that inmate would usually lock down. But if it was a reason they were not going to lock down because they didn't want to go back into their cell, or that they had told on somebody, or they thought they were going to get their ass beat by their cellie, so there was different circumstances, then usually, especially on a GP yard, that inmate ended up PCing up. They wouldn't go get their shit from the cell, like their bedroll, and sleep in the middle of the pod. We ended up having to roll them up, go through all their shit, take them off, and it ended up usually being a dope debt that made them not want to lock down. But it used to happen all the damn time, or they just didn't have what they had got coming. And if that was the case, I made sure they had what they got coming. I say, listen, lock down. If it's something that you have coming that you didn't get, I'll make sure you get it, and you'll get it within the next 30 minutes to an hour if I can make that happen. I used to always tell officers, if they have something coming, make sure they get it, or you're going to have certain instances like that. Chapman, what was your question? How many GP yards are left in AZ? So let's see. There is, at the Lewis facility, there's currently Steiner Units GP, and Eagle Point across the street is GP. The Maury unit was a GP unit, but it was emptied out because the doors don't lock. So there's 2 at Lewis. And then in Florence is about to close, so that's gone away. And then Iman has 2 GP yards, so that's 4. Winslow is all GP. They've got 3 yards. 5, 6, 7. Safford's GP. I can't remember how many yards they have. Tucson has a couple GP yards. So probably, I don't know, 10 tops. There's 10 state prison facilities in the state of Arizona that are contracted by the state of Arizona. One of them being a female facility. Obviously, female is all GP. Yeah. Do they PC up? They end up coming back to the yard. There is no protective custody in females. But yeah, not very many, man. Not very many at all. Yeah, Florence is closing. And I'm telling you, eventually, I'm thinking that GP will somehow go away because they're trying to integrate where you can't, what was the test like? Steen, the what test? The CBAT test? I think I missed that. But I think eventually it's going to all go away, GP, because they're trying to integrate them where you're not race segregating, and these guys ain't having that shit. And they've given them Xboxes and PlayStations and 65-inch screen TVs in the day room and extra visits. So they get visits during the week now as an incentive to live with another race. They get more store items. So they've tried to implement a lot of different incentives for these guys to integrate. But these guys are like, politics rule over PlayStation and Xbox. However, there's a yard down at Florence West, or North, no, it's North Unit, where it was working just fine. They were the start of that incentive program, and they had no issues, and they were a level 1-2 GPR. That's probably why, because it was a level 1-2. Now you're talking 3, 4, and 5 level GP. Well, 3 and 4. 5's usually just a max custody out here in Arizona, but 3 and 4, it's not as easy. When we did that in the female facility, it was cake. They already live with another race. Did some yards not want to? Yeah, but did they really put up a fight? No. And they all have to sign a piece of paper, I will live with another race. They have to sign that before you can put them in there with another race. So I know that was one of the biggest problems at Maury unit out there at Lewis. They didn't want to integrate. So they were rioting and they were beating the shit out of each other and the cells weren't locking. So, and that's been going on forever. A lot of the cells out there at the Lewis facility don't lock. They don't lock in Yuma. They weren't locking at Florence. They don't lock at Iman. They don't lock up in Winslow, Safford. So that's nothing new. The Department of Corrections just hasn't dumped any money into ensuring that not only the officers are safe, but obviously the inmates are safe, because there's constantly shit going on. You guys that have been in there, whether you're a correctional officer as an inmate, you know that in prison, constant politics going on, whether it's a drug trade or you're trying to get your visitor to bring in dope, or you're trying to manipulate the officer to bring in cell phones, or you're gambling, or you got a gambling debt, or who knows? There's tons of shit that goes on. But I ended up, and I've had the video. I ended up going under investigation. I was working our yard went from GP, we switched over to PC, and I was pissed. And I ended up having an inmate drop a kite on me that said I was bringing in dope, and I never was. I mean, it was just a bullshit kite, but they had to investigate it. They had to look into it. And all right, 8 people in here, 8 likes. I appreciate that, y'all. Real goon squad in here for sure. I was under investigation for about a day and a half. I had to go talk to the criminal investigation unit, who I knew and worked with. And man, I was fucking pissed. They searched my vehicle in front of God and everybody up at the main complex. Who's more yoked up, you or Big Sid? Big Sid looked pretty big, man. He looked like he's popping, man. He looked like he's hitting them weights. That's funny. I'm gonna have to collaborate with Big Sid for sure, man. I just started watching his stuff. Motherfucker's funny for sure. But yeah, that shit sucked. You never want to go under investigation. I just watched his latest video. He is funny. I was checking him out too. Does that happen? Kites getting written on? It happens all the time. As a matter of fact, in the female facility, it happens on the daily. I used to get kites from females saying my officers were dirty. They were trying to bang them and have sex with them, and they were bringing dope in. It's become such a problem that they've assigned a special. It's a PREA coordinator, so a Prison Rape Elimination Act. Yeah, you wouldn't want to work at a female facility for sure. Is there any punishment when an inmate does that to a CO? So honestly, not really. There really is no punishment. The CO ends up getting yanked off the yard. Prison facility is already short. That inmate drops a kite, or they call the PREA line. It is king. PREA's king. They call that line, say this officer tried to have sex with me, blah, blah, blah. They put all that shit out there. CIU gets it. They have to fully investigate it because it could be real and it could be fake. They usually know right away when it's fake, or the inmate will come forward and say, hey, man, I was just pissed at the officer. I'm over it now. None of that shit that I said was real. They still investigate it to the fullest. They still interview the officer that's been removed from the yard, that's now at main control around, that has no inmate contact. And that shit can go on forever. And it happens all the time. So now they've had a PREA coordinator, but downtown, they have somebody that does nothing but looks into those. They should punish those fake kites, but really all they do is they might take your visits away for 30 days or 60 days, or, I've never seen where they do a street charge. Yeah, the females do some crazy shit. So you can be walking by the cell, they'll be standing there naked on purpose. If you don't report that, I used to tell my officers, if you see a female, if you're doing your checks or you're conducting count and she's standing there naked, which is completely against protocol, they have to always have a top on and bottoms on, but they do this shit on purpose. They'll be standing there naked. You have to write an information report, because if you don't, and that inmate says you stood there and you were watching her and you were making fucking gestures and you pulled your pants, who knows what the fuck they'll say. But if you don't write that information report, guess what? That female calls that PREA line, or that female drops a kite in the H&R box. That's the medical box, health needs request. We get it. It comes to me as a sergeant. Then what do I have to do? I have to write up a report, contact my warden, contact CIU, Criminal Investigations Unit, and then they have to end up investigating it. And all that officer needed to do was write an information report. On this date and time, I was doing this. I was conducting a check, and inmate so-and-so was standing there in the nude. She was directed to put on clothes, whatever you're going to put, but you documented it, because it happens all the time. Or if they're changing, the female's back is to be towards you. They have to have bottoms on, but if they're going to not have a top on, they have to be facing the wall to where the cell door, if you look in, you see their back. You still need to drop an IR, an information report, to let them know what happens. I'm telling you, that's why I say, if you're going to go work in a prison facility and you want to be a correctional officer, think twice before you just do it because you want a job. Because I'm telling you, you ain't going to last. You are not going to last. And I hate to say that. It sounds like a dick statement. But if you just need a paycheck, get a job elsewhere. Because there's a lot of people that are hiring nowadays. Do the officers in female facilities spend half their shift writing those reports? It really just depends on what yard you're on. I was on a pretty good yard, and not really, but it just depends. Burrito, yeah, there's a ton of military veterans. As a matter of fact, we get a lot of retirees that did a 20 to 25 year career in the military that come right over to corrections and start up a new retirement. Used to in corrections, it was a 20-year flat retirement. So they've now taken that away. Then it went to 25 years, and now it's a tier 3 to where it's a 401k. So once that 401k runs out, your retirement runs out. But anybody that got in, I think it was 2012 or before, you were on that 20-year. So I was on the 20-year plan, but that's now gone. So there is no 20-year. You say you get hired in 99 and you retire in 2019, you get 20 years and your retirement pays out forever. There's a lot of people still working towards that 20-year or 25-year, but now everybody coming in that's new is on the 401k plan. So it kind of sucks. I thought we just voted for the pension for COs in 2018 election. Yeah, so you did, but it kept it as it's a 401k basically. It's no longer a pension plan. That's an AZ anyway. So it's a tier 3. It's the Corp. It's Correctional Officer Retirement Program tier 3. It used to be tier 1, 20. Tier 2 went to 25 years. Now tier 3. So you might retire and you're retired for 5 years, and then all of a sudden the money runs out. So, and if you've quit and you were on the 20-year program and you go to reinstate, unless you left your money there and your years of service there, you have to come in on the tier 3 plan. So any of you guys out there that are planning on quitting and you're on that 20-year plan, I highly suggest, if you can leave your money sitting there and you're not sure and you're taking a new career and you're not sure of it, leave it there, because you can go back. As long as you're not gone for 2 years, you can reinstate back and you don't have to go back through the academy. But if you're out longer than 2 years, you got to go back through the academy, Correctional Officer Academy. You still got to go through all the testing and stuff. You just don't have to go through the academy if you're out 2 years or less. So think about that before you throw away your 20-year retirement, because I know a lot of us don't give a shit about the retirement right now, but when you get to that 20 years or you're a couple years out and you're like, damn, I could be retiring in 2 years, and then you don't have it anymore, you might think twice. But that's totally just my opinion. You don't have to take my opinion, but that's my opinion. Anyway, they are doing the same thing. Florida state employees, I'm on the 30-year plan, but I'm not a first responder or high-risk job. But at least you have a 30-year plan. That's pretty cool. At least it's not like a 401k you're paying into. And like mine rolled over into Arizona State Retirement System, so I contribute 12% of my check every 2 weeks. 12%. Think about it. That's a lot of money that I contribute. When I was in the Correctional Officer Retirement Program, I was only contributing 7%. So 12%, I think I contribute like, it's well over $300 a month. I can't remember it, or I mean every 2 weeks. I can't remember what it is, but it's a lot, 12%. And it continues to go up, but the frickin' pay doesn't go up. You know what I mean? So the cost of living rises, and we just keep the same rate. It's ridiculous. 19%. God damn, that's crazy. That is ridiculous. I can't even imagine. I'm trying to figure out how I'm contributing 12%. I couldn't do 19%. What if an inmate threatens self-harm, but you know it's BS? You still have to initiate the incident command system, pull the inmate out, interview the inmate. So me as a sergeant, the correctional officer, would initiate that incident command system. I would come down there, interview the inmate, have medical come on site, interview the inmate, make sure we contacted psych, have psych interview, and then if it's bullshit, they'd get a ticket for hindering staff. Because we don't have time for the fake self-harms. But I know that me as an officer, when I used to know that it was a bullshit self-harm and they were just trying to get out the damn cell, I didn't initiate. I just pull them out, talk to them, see what the hell was going on. I never wanted my sergeant down there on the yard. I feel like I could run the yard, and I didn't need my handheld. Now, may I have written an information report about it or ran it by my sergeant? Hey, this is what happened. This inmate said they were going to do self-harm. I pulled them out. I talked to them. It was all bullshit. They just didn't have something coming or whatever. Yeah, and looking back, could I have gotten in some big trouble for that? Yeah, for sure. When you talk about PC in your videos being protected, is that when inmates are too pussy to be in GP? So yeah, so protective custody and general population. So a lot of times inmates don't have a choice but to go to protective custody, like sex offenders. Here in AZ, they're going to put you in a protective custody yard. I got to get back. You too, man. Have a good day down under. I appreciate you joining. But yeah, a lot of times they don't have a choice. Depending on the crime, they used to just hit a GP yard and then they'd get their head smashed in. But nowadays, especially here in Arizona, if you have a sex offender or crimes against women like domestic violence, or anything that is not accepted on a GP yard, especially chomos, sex offenders, they're not going to hit a GP yard because the staff and administration already knows that these inmates are going to get smashed. They already know that they're going to end up being killed. They're done because you got to produce your paperwork. And once they see that paperwork, it's over. And if you don't produce it, they'll just have their people on the streets look at it. So I would say for the most part, sex offenders aren't hitting a GP yard. They might slip through the cracks here and there, but they end up getting their head smashed in. Yep, exactly, walking into their own death. You might have a domestic violence or some of these other ones that aren't acceptable crimes on a GP yard, hit the mainland, and then boom, they check their paperwork and then they get smashed. Or I've even seen the heads give them a chance to get off the yard. Hey, listen, you've got 15 minutes, you got an hour, or whatever, to check in, or we'll be taking care of you. So it really just depends. But for the most part, they're getting their ass smashed. But yeah, I think times have changed, man. There isn't too many convicts anymore. What happens on a hunger strike? So Sean asked, what happens on a hunger strike? So when there's a hunger strike, the inmate he has to refuse meals for 72 straight hours. Once that 72 hours comes up, they have to be removed. They have to be removed from their cell, placed on watch, and then after 5 days of them not eating, the warden gets involved, and then it goes from there. I've never seen one last longer than 5 days. And we're still giving them their food. They might refuse to eat, but if they're by themselves. They might refuse to eat, but I'm still going to give them their sack, and then we'll go in there to check to see if they've eaten it, or yeah, you got to write an IR every single time the inmate refuses to eat. Always. So I'm not eating. I'm on a hunger strike. Okay. Well, information report. Dinner comes around. I'm not eating. Information report. Next day, breakfast. Hunger strike still. Hunger strike still. So 3 times hunger strike still. Then you get to that 72 hours. Then you got to call the sergeant down and say, hey, listen, we're on 72 hours. Remove them from the cell. They go on watch. Telling you, man, if they really haven't eaten in 3 days, they're gonna end up eating. But if not, then they go on a full psych evaluation, and then psych figures it out from there. But yeah, I used to see hunger strikes a lot, and hunger strikes are usually because they didn't get what they had coming, or the food sucks, or it just really depends. But yeah, 72 hours is a long time to go without eating. And usually, if we give them their sack, we've found that they ended up eating, or it just really depends. But yeah, 72 hours is the longest they can be on a hunger strike, and then boom, you pull them out the cell. I'm telling you, by that 3rd day though, they're gonna eat because you're starving. You're already starving in prison, especially if you don't have any food. And then you go on a hunger strike, and that usually happens in the lockdown units where they do a hunger strike. Because they're pissed, they don't want to be in lockdown, or they've been in lockdown too long, and how come they're still in there? So it just really depends. But yeah, 72 hours, and it has to be an information report written every time. Can you order store in PC like on regular, or do you use yard time like PC compared to, do you ever see shot callers in PC? Yeah, I used to have a lot of shot callers in PC, and yeah, you can get the same type of store depending on your points. So it all goes off your points, depending on how much disciplinary you've had. But yeah, I had some big time shot callers in PC that, or your phase 1, 2, and 3. So if you're a phase 1, you get like, I can't remember the amount of store anymore. If you're a phase 2, you get so much store, and then a phase 3, you get a bunch of store. But yeah, I had some pretty big shot callers in max custody that didn't have a choice because they were validated, and they had to go to protective custody. Or I had debriefers that had debriefed, and they don't really debrief. They just give enough information to our SSU unit to no longer be part of that gang activity, but they still are. They just don't really want to be in that life anymore. So they debrief. However, they don't give up that much information, because I've set in on a debriefing, and they just give enough to really get off the yard. We had a debriefer pod on Buckley unit. That's no longer. But yeah, I had some big time validated heads. They're all down there at Iman now. Or they're at Florence to go to Iman because Florence is closing. But they still call the shots from there. They just write kites. Just because they're now PC and they were validated, it doesn't mean that they don't still call the shots. Yeah, they do. And I've seen GP come to PC just to get at somebody. It's crazy, man. You're going to see a lot of crazy shit inside the prison facility. But yeah, as you guys are asking me these questions, a lot of it's coming back to me. And I forget that it goes by phase level, and how many points you have, and how much disciplinary you have. It used to be, even though if they were pointed out, we'd still let them order some type of store. I think the most store you can get is $80. How do kites get from PC to a shot caller on GP? So a lot of times it's inmate workers that are coming from yard to yard to yard to yard. They'll pick up a kite. The kite will be left somewhere, and then they'll take it back to their yard and get it to that shot caller. So there's a lot of different types of work that's done. It might be a plumbing that needs to be done on a yard that yard doesn't have the plumber, so they bring a GP into the PC. Obviously, we lock the yard down, or if they can stay out at rec. But that's usually how it happens. Down here, housemen used to transfer a lot of things. Yeah. Also, officers do the shit. There's a lot of dirty officers. They'll take notes from a PC yard. Let's say they get transferred they have to go cross level to a GP yard. If they're dirty, they'll take the kite from PC to GP, GP to PC. No problem, because they're getting paid to do it. However, they end up getting caught, and then they're looking at facing time. So it's really not worth it. But for the most part, it's inmates that are working on yards. And shit's left places that a PC inmate might go up to medical and leave something, and then the GP inmate's up at medical at a different time, knows where it's at and gets it. Check transfer. I missed that comment. How do I go back to comments? Do COs get check transferring yards like that? Yes, they do. However, you just have to clear a scanner. So it's not like they're doing like a body cavity search, or they're doing a full pat down where you got to empty out all your pockets. I had an officer that got full on strip searched. Was he pissed? Hell yeah, but we strip searched him because we thought he was bringing dope into the facility. Was he? No. But we strip search his ass at any time, and you'll see signs. What do you think about the integration happening nowadays in GP? I have so many questions. No, you're good, Kenneth. No problem. You're good, man. No, you're good. I think it's brutal. I think it's causing a lot of problems, a lot of riots, a lot of beatdowns, a lot of stabbings, a lot of killings, and corrections doesn't have the staff to handle integration. They do not have the staff, and these guys do not want to integrate. It's funny how much. What the hell happened to my... Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get these chats back. It's funny how much rope COs get to hang themselves. I know. Yeah, it happened. A CO they hang themselves so easily. It's ridiculous. Constant. But yeah, getting back to the question, Kenneth, I feel like it's just... We don't have enough staff to integrate. And that's something that came from the governor's office. Is the governor down there working the yard? Hell no. So why don't you come down and work a yard, and then let's see how you like it, and how are you going to integrate when the whites and the blacks and the Mexicans are standing up to you saying, "Fuck you, I ain't doing that." Did you have officers under you that would write a lot of tickets? Does that style work for some people? So I did have a lot of officers that would write tickets, and I'm the one that would sign off on the ticket. So if it was a bogus ticket and I knew it wasn't going to fly when it got to the disciplinary hearing officer, I would tell the officer, this shit ain't going to fly. It's a bogus ticket. It's going in the trash. Shred it. If it was something valid and they had called me about it, then I'd push it through. But I used to tell them, as long as you're firm, fair, and consistent, and you don't go out of your way to disrespect inmates, then you should be fine. Obviously, what's up, Gina? Thanks for joining. Then obviously you're not going to have that many issues. Are you going to have fights? And are you going to, especially in the female or the male facility, fights and stabbings and beatdowns and dope? Yeah, where it forces your hand to write tickets? Absolutely. But are you just out there to write tickets and then you end up getting your ass beat because you're constantly writing bogus tickets? Because remember, these inmates lose good time. And if you've got a dick disciplinary officer that constantly finds you guilty on a major ticket, you're losing your good time to get out of prison. So it pisses them off, and that might start a riot over a ticket that was bogus because you were out of place, and just stupid tickets. You know what I mean? Stupid ass tickets. There's some stupid tickets that were right. Would you call a littering ticket bogus? Yeah. Like I said, man, I didn't write tickets. I really didn't. I had a lot of officers in the female facility that I used to tell them, listen, go work some OT in a male facility and then come back and write this dumbass ticket. You know, because the inmate didn't have her shirt tucked in or his shirt tucked in, or their ID was on the wrong side of their chest, or it wasn't clipped. He probably could. He probably could hoop that motherfucker. But I used to get a lot of those tickets. Oh, on this day and time, the inmate didn't have their ID on their clip to their shirt. Well, did the fucking inmate have a clip? We don't even have clips. Half of them are broken. So they went to like a lanyard thing to where you had to wear it around your neck. Well, what a great idea, right? Especially you have a suicidal inmate. What do you think they're going to do with that lanyard? They're going to figure out a way to hang themselves with it. Stupid, right? Yeah, were they breakable lanyards? Yeah, but anything can be manipulated. So I don't even know. I'm glad that I got the hell out of there, because they are absolutely, without a doubt, so short. Arizona is probably one of the shortest staffed states in the nation. I know every single every single state is short, but I'm telling you, I was a recruiter downtown and I saw the staffing shortage, and it's only got worse in the last couple of years. So I don't know what they're doing. They've lowered the age limit down to 18. It's ridiculous. They don't pay COs enough out here. They don't pay them enough anywhere. Like somebody told me the other day that they make like $12 an hour. What the hell? Here, as a CO, you used to come in at $15.83 and then you jump to like $15.30 and then you jump to $15.83 after the academy. Now I think it's I think they make like 16 or 17 an hour, but county's paying like 22 an hour as a new officer. So they're taking all the correctional officers from state and they're moving them into county, making them detention officers, doing a shortened, abbreviated, like a 5-week academy. So we're losing a lot of good officers. And the only challenge I see with county is they do a polygraph. A lot of officers can't pass a polygraph for some reason. A lot of time it's drug use related when they were younger or whatever. Yeah, I would agree with you. State definitely should be paying more than county. But every county out here, Pinal County, Pima County, Maricopa County, they're the ones that are taking, Maricopa County are the ones that are taking all of our correctional officers. They actually have signs outside of the facilities, come work for us, we'll pay you, blah, 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 abbreviated academy. So instead of doing a 12-week academy, we'll put you through a 5-week academy. It's crazy. And you get to keep the same retirement because they utilize the correctional officer retirement program as well. So you don't lose your retirement. You just transfer right on in. So I don't know, man. It's crazy. It's crazy business. But hopefully it gets better. I really do hope so. Because right now it sucks. No way would I be a CO or a cop in the environment. Yeah, especially with social media nowadays. There's no way. There's no way. I was on a ride along not too long ago with my buddy. He works in South Phoenix. And you record everything you do. Everybody's, not only you as a cop, but everybody's got their cell phones out recording you. You can't do anything without being recorded. And that sucks. That sucks. I hate it. Is it different inside the facility? Yeah, because you can't have your phone, but still, inmates have phones, so they can record you. You see a lot of, look at K-Frog. He had all kinds of cell phones in there. He was recording all kinds of shit. There's not a doubt in my mind that the officers knew he had phones, and I'm sure he had a lot of them on the payroll. So, because he had a shitload of phones, man, tons. But anyway, I got to reach out to homeboy to see if we can get the video going for. I'm doing the collaboration. He was an ex-AB member. I think he was one of the heads that he said. So I'm gonna get him interviewed, and then I'll get that uploaded to my channel. I appreciate everybody for rocking with me. 9 people in here, 9 likes. We're down to 8. We had 10. That's a lot for me. I appreciate it. Any support I get, I definitely appreciate it. So I'm recruiting from California, going to apply for AZ Department of Correction at Lewis. God's advice. Yeah, don't go to Lewis. Are you coming from correctional CDCR? If you are, you're going to be surprised. The pay is not the best. But okay, so no. So As a matter of fact, Lewis isn't that bad. The advice that I have for you is just stay firm, fair, and consistent. You can test out there at Lewis. I don't know if they've scheduled you yet, but you'll go through a full day of testing. You'll do the written exam, a psych evaluation, a physical fitness. They'll do a background. It's a condensed version of the background. You got to get past that before you can move on with the day. But it's an easy testing process, 60-question test, 4 sections. It's timed, but it's common sense. And then they'll schedule you for your medical physical that day. And then you'll do that. Your packet will go to background investigator. It's a quick pass. As long as you don't have anything in your background or you didn't lie in your background questionnaire. And then you'll do a UA, and then they'll schedule you for the academy. It's 7 weeks. Enjoy the academy. Enjoy it. Learn as much as you can. Because once you get out to the prison facility, it starts to get real. And there's a lot of overtime out there at Lewis that's offered. You used to only be able to do 24 a week. Now you can do 32 hours a week. So if I were you, I would go to Perryville. If Perryville's open, go to Perryville. You know, I always say if you're going to be new to corrections, start in a male facility, but go to Perryville, man. They're staffed, and just not as much crazy shit goes on there. Or if you can relocate, if you haven't decided where you're going to relocate yet, but you're thinking about Buckeye or somewhere closest to Lewis, go to Tucson Complex. They're highly staffed. They don't really have any kind of shortages for whatever reason. I don't know, but I was a sergeant. That was my last rank, sergeant. I was on the lieutenant's list, and I was out of there. Yeah, 32 hours, man. 32 hours. Yeah, so if you're moving to Buckeye 23rd letter, that's what I would just go to Lewis and hit me up. I got a lot of buddies out there still, and you know, you'll probably go to the max unit. That's RAS max, but you'll learn a hell of a lot, man. That's where I went when I was new. That max unit wasn't there. That thing's brand new. It was built like in 2015, but we had like a makeshift max unit back in like 2010, 2011, and you'll learn a hell of a lot. And you can promote within 2 years, so stick with it. You can make a lot of money. You can do a lot of overtime. Are they short-staffed? Yeah. Is there a lot of shit going on? Yeah, but there's always some positives to negatives, right? And I hate to just say don't do it, so do it. But really look into it and understand that corrections is something that you got to dedicate yourself to, and you just get in there and give it your all, man. Just stay firm, fair, and consistent. You're gonna see shit that you will never see on the streets, not ever. You'll see some crazy shit in there, but you bet it'll be. I think you'll be fine, man. But hit me up, drop comments, or you can hit me up at on my Instagram. I changed it again because for some reason people can't find it. So it's COS_goon. Goon Squad. Sorry. COS_Goon Squad. It's time and a half. So OT's time and a half. So you can do 32 hours a week. So basically it's another paycheck. I mean, some of these COs are bringing home like, I don't know, 3,500 every 2 weeks. Big money. I mean, that's pretty good money. 35, that's $7,000 a month. Yeah, COS_Goon Squad. Or just hit me up in the comments. You can find me on Facebook at Steve and Yvette, YVETTE. You'll see my pretty face. So, just kidding. Shoot me a messenger, or I'll drop the link to my email in the comments, and I'll give you some more good advice, man. Because I did it for a long time. Lewis was my home for a long time. That was my first complex, and we were short back then. And there's a lot of things you can do. You can get on the tactical support unit. You can do, you can try to become a K-9 member. You can do crisis negotiation. Anything that is extracurricular that you can get off the yard and go do, get involved. Get involved in anything that will pull you off the yard once a week, twice a week, whatever. and will keep your mind busy where you're not just having to go do the same thing every day. And if you are, and so be it. There's always room for improvement. You can always move up. You can go correctional officer 3. You can go down to parole. I think you got to have a degree and 2 years under your belt, but they might have changed that back. I'm not sure. Drop the email and you can drop a link. Yeah, I definitely will, Ronnie. I'll drop that. I'll drop my Facebook. And then moving forward, Willis, if you can just copy those links and then in some of my lives, can you just drop those for me? So I'll drop the links, and then moving forward when we go live, and if you're in there, can you just drop the links for me, bro? I appreciate that. But anyway, I'm gonna jump off here, y'all. I'll drop the links, and then Ronnie Willis will copy those and then dump them off as we go live. My plan is to do something like you just mentioned, PD. I don't qualify for PD. It's all good, but there's a lot of shit you can do, man. I'm in something similar to what I used to do. However, I'm just not in corrections anymore. All right, y'all. Yeah, great chat. I'll see you soon, man. Appreciate y'all. Have a good rest of your day and week. Thank you. Peace.